I think I need a Band-Aid right here, just for this review.
You want a Mickey Mouse one?
What? No. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Yes, you're trying to be Nelly.
All right, all right.
But we live in a kid's house, so we have Mickey Mouse Band-Aids.
I think I saw some Frozen. Hey, what's good, guys? It's Chris from WearTesters.com. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and review on these guys right here. This is the Nike Air Force 1 React. This is kind of interesting. Now, when they first debuted this version of the shoe, I was immediately intrigued, not because they're using like React in the midsole, but how they're using React in the midsole, and it's in drop-in form, which I think is like really cool because normally we see that in performance models only and less so in lifestyle models. You know what? I don't even know if we've seen any of these in lifestyle models. Have we?
Drop-ins?
Yeah, drop-in midsoles. Have there been any in a lifestyle model? And I'm not talking about a sportswear shoe where it used to be performance and now it's lifestyle, although technically that is what the Air Force 1 is, but this is so dated.
They played in the NBA in those.
Rasheed Wallace did for a long ass time. I bet you Rasheed's like kicking himself now because they make him like mad comfortable nowadays. And he's probably like, man, I was playing in the bricks. Now, my number one question with these guys was, are these going to be the most comfortable Air Force 1s ever? And now that I have them in hand, I have also tried them on foot. And I'm going to say, surprisingly, no. They're not. They're very close though. I gotta give it that. Do you know which one is the most comfortable to me? Everybody's got their own personal preferences, but to me, do you remember which one? I'm not a big Air Force 1 guy.
Is it a Flyknit version?
There you go. It's the Flyknit version.
Okay.
I think they called them the Flyknit Ultras or something like that. Nike had this line of Ultra for all of its like classic X-performance models like the 90s, the Air Max 1s, the 95s even, where they ultra'd the shoe, and so it would have like Fuse or whatever the current tech was for both the build and the cushioning. And I don't dislike any of those models or anything like that, but I felt like the Air Force 1 was like the best of the Ultra stuff. I thought that it looked the best. I thought it felt the best. It had the best of everything in it. It had the newest upper, which was Flyknit at the time instead of the plasticky Fuse stuff, which they've done on the Air Force 1. They've done Foamposite Air Force 1s. They've done everything that you could think of on an Air Force 1. But my favorite thing about that Ultra or Flyknit version of the shoe was actually the tooling, where these guys are a rubber cup sole, okay? And they're still like that. The originals were like that as well. These are very much like a big guy version of like a Jordan 1 or a Dunk, where inside of the original model, there was the cup sole, and then inside of that, there was an EVA wedge, and that's where they housed the cushioning units. So for this guy right here, it was air. Well, actually, all of them had air. But it was one of those things where you never were able to really, truly feel it because it, again, it's encapsulated within this cup sole right here, which is solid rubber. So it was always one of those things where it was like dope at the time, but as time progressed, it wasn't quite as comfortable. And the Flyknit version of the shoe ended up turning the tooling into foam. So it was just like a Phylon slab, and it looked great.
So it's like what Eric wears.
Our son Eric wears these Jordan 1s, but they have no laces. They have a big wing strap and it says Sky Jordan on it. And then the tooling of it is foam, much like your slip-on ones.
Yes.
So it's Phylon instead of the rubber cup sole. And that's what they did there, but they even took it up a notch where they mimicked the outsole by coring out a ton of it. So there was a ton of compression in there. It was one of the most comfortable things I've ever worn. There's been a number of shoes where I'm like, yo, those are mad comfortable. These were one of those shoes. And those still had an air sole unit in the heel so that they could still be an Air Force 1 because that's where the air comes from. I thought it was so funny. This is how you know that you have somewhat of a generational gap between consumers. I can't remember when, but I remember reading the comment, and this was not too long ago either, where somebody was just like, oh, they're called Air Jordans because there's air in every model. Light bulb. And I was like, well, yeah, that's exactly why they're called Air Jordans. That's why the kids' versions weren't. They're just called Sky Jordans. There's no tech in them. They're just baby versions. But that's where the air in any of these names for Nike came from, where if you had a shoe like the Waffle Runner, there's no air in that name because there's no air in that shoe. They're not going to label a model Nike Air or Nike Zoom if those things are not in there. I think I went on like a massive tangent, or was that still in line?
I feel like that went with it.
Okay, well, so I just forgot what I was talking about? Is that what happened? That just happened, old person moment, where I'm like,
where am I?
Yeah, what the hell am I doing here? Now what we have here is, again, another cup sole, but they've done something different, and they've implemented these bad boys into them. Drop soles. Again, these are performance things, at least for this generation. Now these guys right here are performance drop-ins. I don't have every one of them with me or anything like that. I just took the three that were like easily, readily available on the shelf over there. This is the Kobe 8, Kobe 9, and then LeBron 11, because look at that. That's a big boy right there.
That's what she said.
Now look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. My favorite part, there's still air in there, guys. There's still air in there. That was such a slick move because this is not even a normal air unit. It's literally a sack of air. It's so weird. I've never seen an air unit like this. I've seen like zoom units like this, but I've never seen an air unit like this. There's no air pillars or anything. It's just a bubble. It's so cool. It reminds me of React Juice from Converse, Grandmama days, even Dennis Rodman days. But yeah, man, I thought that was a killer touch because they're still technically Air Force Ones with React. So cool. My number one question, after getting everything and inspecting everything, not only was it the most comfortable, I guess that would make it my number two question. So my number two question was, is this the same? I was wondering, are they interchangeable? Can I put this in here? Maybe in here? How about in here? And the answer is, it'll go in.
That's what she said.
That was a slick one, right? Yeah. The thing though is that this is just a different shape than the rest of these models. This guy clearly is the thickest of the bunch, but it's not even the thickness that matters so much. It's more so the contouring. So that's the part where I think it's very interesting because, again, initially I'm kind of like computing all this information in my brain with the marketing and all that, and I'm just like, how is React going to expand inside of a rubber cupsole? Because if you guys remember the last time that they implemented React inside of something, it wasn't that great. The Hyperdunk 2017 and the Superfly of that year, they were good shoes other than the React. I was kind of like, what are they going to do to kind of like offset that? And that's exactly what this contouring is that this ends up slimming underneath your foot. And so when it's in here, it's not taking up all of this space. And when you put your pressure on it, it expands and it allows React to be React and move like this. It's pretty cool.
So do those other insoles fit in that?
They will fit in this. It's going to be a tight fit though.
That's what she said.
So yeah, so that one, I mean, it's barely in there.
It can take it.
No, it can't. Okay, it's trying to come out. This is going to be a dirty one, guys. Buckle yourselves in. But yeah, it's all crumpled up in there. So the LeBron midsole is not working, and now it's stuck. That's also what she said. Or it could be what he said to the jacuzzi jet. I've seen stories. You don't remember that show where they used to talk about all the strange things that would happen and some guy stuck his dong inside of a jacuzzi jet and got it stuck in there and they had to call the police and he was like just hanging out for a while. I can't remember if he died because I think that's what the show was about. It was about like the weirdest ways to die.
That's a horrible way to die.
If you're a guy, if you're a girl, that you just laugh at them. But if you're a guy, that's pretty sad. So that insole or midsole does work. By the way, these are midsoles, okay? They're not insoles. I know that I even keep jumping around because I can't help it, but they are midsoles. Without these inside the shoe, it's not wearable. Okay, so you don't do that with an insole. An insole, you take it out, you still got the midsole there. You take this out, the shoe has no guts. So the Kobe 8 one, I assume, would fit too. That one's a little bit of a tighter one too, but it still works. But again, this is kind of designed for this specific one. So this is almost kind of like outside of these realms and all of that, where these guys, you can actually interchange them amongst all of these shoes. And this one, when I put them inside there, it was that contouring that was messing things up. So it was too loose, especially in this shoe, where it felt almost like dangerous to play, like there's two separate pieces there, they're not working in tandem. That's not what you want, because these guys fit very snug inside of these because there's no movement, and you want that because you want the shoe to play like a real shoe, not like a shoe with a removable component. It did fit better in these two shoes, but again, I still wouldn't trust it for performance, and these guys right here are still good as they are with the Lunar and all of that stuff, so I would just stick with this. That's my recommendation. So that pretty much takes care of the tech spec features right here. There's a lining. It's got that texture though, that React texture feels very funny under your feet. And the Kobe insoles have the same thing, or midsoles. Man, I keep doing the same thing. That's like a pet peeve of mine too, being like, they're not insoles, they're midsoles. Don't worry guys, I do it too. But yeah, this one right here has got the, and you can feel that, but the more that you break it in, the better it feels. And then again, you have the look of React, and so that's their visual design cue to let you know that that's what this is. So even if it didn't say React, you should know that that's React. Now there still is the cupsole again, so that's cool. You just take the components out of it. What I really like what they did though is that they kept the iconic traction right there. They didn't mess with anything, but they tweaked it right here and right here where there's normally stars, and now it's got the React visual, and I think that's slick because it's so subtle that you almost wouldn't notice. Something that I also really like though is the React line right here. It literally says Nike React, also says Air, but instead of this being a part of the cupsole, like it's normally just part of it, it's normally rubber, it's plastic. I just think that's kind of cool. I don't know what this means. Does anybody know?
Take away the S and we can sing it.
Oh God, take that out, okay? Take that out. Nobody needs to see that. DMX is the man though. I don't care what anybody says. He was like woke before woke was a thing. But yeah, I really don't know what the D, MS, and X means. So if you know what it means, I'd love to know. I did try looking it up, but I really couldn't find anything where I was like definitively like, yes, that's what it is. Because there's other Nike shoes with this on there. Now the rest of the upper is interesting because we have that kind of like Air Force One look with the leather shell, even though it's not leather. It's not even close. And then at the mid panel and the tongue right here, instead of there being more leather and nylon, instead it's very similar to like a mesh, and there's a mesh panel here. The tongue is the same exact mesh. I do like the oversized swoosh. I think that's a cool touch. I also like this colorway. There's 3 colorways available currently. It's this one and the black one that are like the basic ones. And then there's this weird gray one that I think is super ugly, but for whatever reason, it's like the most hyped up one, and it's like super expensive on the resale market. Whereas you can grab these for like under retail, which is what I did. These were not available at Foot Locker. They said that they were gonna be available, but they weren't there.
So where'd you grab them?
I had to grab them from this this app called Goat.
Oh.
And I don't want to like that app, but I do. Anyways, as far as sizing goes, they still fit like an Air Force One, which I think is great because this was one of those things where I was like, are they gonna fit or not? So I went with my normal Air Force One sizing, which is what I would recommend. Down half a size from your true size, because I feel like these are just boxy, roomy, no padding. Everything's very squared and all that. They don't, again, use real leather on them anymore, so it's not the best thing, you know what I mean? It doesn't wear as nicely. So when you go down half a size, they do fit super snug, but they also fit perfect. So when they wear more naturally. So that pretty much takes care of it for these guys. Again, this is the Nike Air Force One Flyknit. Again, I don't think that they're the most comfortable Air Force One ever. I still give that to the Ultra or the Flyknit version, whatever. But this is a second option, like the one that's like directly underneath it, the runner-up, if you will. I would love to see this in other shoes because you could take something from a different time, you know what I mean? But you guys let me know what you think about these down below in the comment section. Are you fucking with these? Are you not? Have we done a giveaway for our Discord community members yet?
Yeah, we did.
We did already? Oh yeah, that's right. Did you want to do a second one for this month?
I don't have a name ready.
You can grab one and then just bloop it right there, right?
Sure.
These are going to whoever that is, and you're welcome because I just grabbed these just to review them. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. I appreciate every one of you guys. So until next time, have a good one.